What connection does fear have to your self-esteem? Do you like to feel shame and guilt? Of course not. Nobody does. But those feeling states are going to happen. Knowing this can leave you in a state of fearful anticipation that these painful things might happen or happen again. And there's the potential of it even happening worse than the last time. If we recognize that guilt and shame are two of the primary emotional experiences connected to damaged self-esteem, it's not surprising that people would fear those experiences. The prospect of having those feelings creates fear. If your self-esteem is not good to a certain level of damage or deficiency, then anxiety will happen anytime someone knocks on your metaphorical door. Not because they might hurt you, but because they may trigger some emotions in you, whose feeling states you do not enjoy experiencing and want to avoid at all costs. If you have a history of actions or behaviors where you have hurt people and you haven't had resolution about it, guilt piles up and you're left with so many incompletions. This devolves into self-esteem damage where your refusal to seek resolution and apologize to those you hurt turns into self-loathing. Perhaps in college you found yourself sleeping with a lot of women and leading them on for your own selfish reasons. Or perhaps you had a girlfriend that you treated very poorly and the relationship ended very badly. The type of person who has layers of unresolved guilt isn't necessarily cognizant that these are playing into their feelings of self-worth, but they do. Self-loathing and self-contempt can be an indirect source of great fear on several fronts. How can I ever hope to be loved as horrible as I am? Or, someone as guilty as me should be punished and should be denied happiness, and I'm afraid that that means there is no winning at the game of life for me. I had a boyfriend once who had this very problem. Due to multiple childhood traumas and various self-esteem damaging experiences when he was young, he had a vast history of acting out. When I started to piece together the puzzle of his life, I ultimately realized he had left a wake of pain and hurt from the age of 17 until I met him. The guilt was festering deep inside, what Dr. Lukens refers to as the dark side of your motivational moon, meaning that it is the motivational factor to you. It's causing you to do things, but you're not aware of it at all. The behavior showed up in how he would text me. Every text message had the tone of voice as if he were saying goodbye, as if he were expecting it to be our last interaction. At the time, I saw his self-esteem and shame avoidance issues, but had not realized that guilt was playing an extremely impactful role until he opened up more about his past, and I saw more of how he interacted with his friends and me. The dark side of his motivational moon was telling him, "How could I ever hope to be loved? I am so horrible." This caused him to severely act out in our relationship, eventually pushing me away completely. His feeling of frogginess was highlighted by my princess tendencies of extending extreme love and compassion for him and others. His anxiety over the thought of losing me would rub up against his sense that he was not healed enough to be with someone like me. One minute he would be anxious if I didn't return his calls or texts, meaning he had a fear of abandonment, and the next he would do something completely inappropriate for a committed relationship. His damaged self-esteem and his ambivalence about doing anything to heal it showed up over and over. There are many more combinations that can occur. Avoiding shame, avoiding disgust, they can also play a significant role. Any avoidance that you're doing can slowly devolve further. You feel incompetent or uncreative in dealing with current situations in your life. The general sense of not being good enough ultimately takes away joy and love from your life. You can do something about it. You have to get to know what and how you are avoiding your emotions. We can help you with that. I suggest completing a self-esteem Truthmap session under the anxiety category. Hopefully this will help you get a little bit of a grip on what's going on.